I'm going to give this my all. You ready?
Then I don't need to hold back.
Soul versus Kai. Let's rock.
At least you're enthusiastic. Get me a moment.
And so begins, at long last, my world peace experiment.
Can't we just kill him together?
Are you ready?
I am bound, diminished, imprisoned in this wretched cage they call paradise. But my power lingers. It seeps into the very earth, but in vain. Calls to them, mortals. They come seeking fortune, wealth, and glory, blind to what truly awaits, claiming the strength that flows through this land, taking each boon without knowing the cost. You are the key to my freedom. Your souls fuel my return. Soon I will rise again. Sacrifice will be my salvation.
Craft. Survive. Fortunately, not alone. Exploring deep into the green abyss together.
My weapon.
Radar up!
Word! I'm hungry.
Phil Spencer. Hi, Phil.
Welcome to the 20 years of PAX. Andrea, it's great to be here with you.
I'm so glad you're hosting this panel for me, Phil. Good morning, everybody, and happy 20 years of PAX. It's PAX West in Seattle, and we're very excited to kick off story time. I'm Andrea Renee, co-founder and host of the What's Good Games podcast. Hopefully you guys have checked it out. Any What's Good fans? Yeah, I love it. I'm very excited to be here with the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, Phil Spencer, who needs no introduction, really, right? To talk about the games that shaped your journey. And we're going to get into those games in just a minute, but before we talk about those games, Phil, I wanted to just talk a little bit about your love for games overall. It's no secret that you play video games, right? We hear about it, what you're playing on social media, and I just wanted to take a minute to talk about what's so exciting to you about the pastime that is video games and why you love playing them so much.
Yeah, it's been part of my life since I was a young kid. And maybe as a kid who wasn't a jock at school, was kind of an introvert. Like I found my own space in the worlds of video games. And then as like the community grew, as I found other people who played either through schools or other things, it's just been like a formative part of my life. The other thing I'll say is I just love the interactivity and the storytelling in games. I think there's something about having agency in how you play a game and the choices that you make that just really connects me to the stories. And you know, as now a father with children, which we'll talk a little bit about, my daughters are in their 20s, but they're still children in my eyes, that it's something I can do with my family, and that's special, family and friends.
I think a lot of people, both in this audience and watching online, share that sentiment. So you're in good company, Phil.
Thanks.
I wanted to take a quick moment to acknowledge that Phil and I have known each other a really long time in the space of video games media. And I found this amazing callback to the very first interview I ever did with Phil. And it was... Look at how young we look. Oh,
you look the same.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I used a lot of serums. This was at E3 2011 in the Xbox booth. We are standing there with Aaron Greenberg.
Aaron Greenberg.
Still works with you.
Still at Xbox.
You guys still palling around, and this was such a fun interview because you guys had just rolled out a bunch of new Xbox Live features.
Yeah.
And one of the features that everyone was so excited about was cloud saves.
Yes.
Isn't that wild? It feels like it wasn't that long ago.
Still fundamental to how we game is that our saves can move with us. Now, I remember this because you and I didn't know each other.
No, it was the first time I'd interviewed you, first time we had met.
But you knew Aaron.
Yes.
So we were in the booth, and Aaron said, hey, I know this great person. She's great at interviews, kind of up and coming. Let's go do an interview. It was like just that. I don't even know if we had a PR person around us. I think we just...
We didn't. It was very off the cuff, which is not how you get to interview Phil these days, everybody. He's a very important man.
No, but it was fun. And watching your career grow, your life grow through the years, it's been awesome. Like, I think the role that you play in the industry, your show, where, as we've talked about, I love that you and your group, you focus on the positives in gaming, the things that gaming can do and can be for people. I just think you've been an awesome part of this industry for many, many years, and I appreciate that, and I know the community does as well.
Thank you, Phil. That's very, very kind of you to say. Very humbling. It's been also very wonderful to watch your journey, having looked at what you've done inside Xbox and Microsoft gaming over the course of your career. And I would love now to move to our conversation about the video games specifically that helped shape that journey, and not just your time at Xbox and Microsoft, of course, but your life overall. And I think it's time for us to potentially start with our first game. And we're gonna do a fun little thing with you guys here in the audience, where we're gonna play a little clip from the game audio, and we're gonna see if you can guess which game it is. Are you guys ready to play? Okay, well, let's get started with our first game.
Anyone?
Amazing. We'll give it one more second to see if they'll play, and then we'll just tell you what it is in the essence of time.
Oh.
I didn't hear any correct answers. The correct answer is, in fact, Robotron 2084.
Greatest game of all time.
Greatest game of all time. Wow, that's high praise. So what comes to your mind first when you think about your time with Robotron?
Yeah, so when I was asked to come and have this discussion and thinking about the games in my journey, I had to start with the arcades. Like, as a young kid in Southern California, me and my friends getting on our bikes, riding down to the Pizza Hut or the arcade, checking out the new cabinets that were there, and then the community of players actually in an arcade, which was like a game unto itself. You know, this it was the beginning of my love of what video games could be. And like, there's things that I learned about like the community of play, and I'm a little bit older than most people in the room, but the cool thing about video game arcades is it wasn't just about playing. It was about surrounding the cabinet, watching somebody with crazy skills at Robotron or some other game, and kind of sharing your love of the games and watching the capabilities of the players. Robotron specifically is one that I got decent at, and one that I actually played all the way through college. I was at the University of Washington over here, and on the Ave at the 7-Eleven, there was a Robotron machine. Kelly, who is my wife now, was my girlfriend back then. And she was at a different college, so there were Friday nights I didn't have a lot to do. So Robotron at the 7-Eleven on the Ave was my jam. So yeah, when I think about where video games started for me, it was going into arcades, playing games, talking to the fans, the players there about games, and the anticipation of what new cabinet was going to come in and what great games were going to be there. And that was the beginning of it for me.
And I love how arcades are still relevant today, and that barcades are a thing, and there's a lot of different ways to play.
They're not a quarter anymore. I found that out.
Yeah, that's true. They are not a quarter. Though there are some places that do you pay once and you can do unlimited play. That's fun, and then you don't have to carry around, rolls of quarters in your pockets anymore.
Maybe we should build a subscription like that. I'm teasing.
Oh. Do you have something you'd like to announce here, Phil? Oh, wait, no. I think it's interesting, though, when we talk about the kind of game that Robotron is, that this type of gameplay is still incredibly popular. I mean, you have games like Brotato or even Vampire Survivors.
I've heard of those.
Yes, they're very fun games. Like, why do you think that style of play continues to be relevant today?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something that's pick up and play about either a dual stick shooter, no camera control, which makes it easy, accessible. One of the things that I talk to game teams about a lot is session length of play. And it's really nice to have a game that if you've got 5-10 minutes, you can actually get something accomplished in the game. And if you've got 2 hours, you can sit there and grind your character or max out levels in Robotron. But I think like having that kind of iteration where you can play, set down, play, and then lack of camera controls, the kind of top down makes it really simple. And I think all of the games, those three specifically, also have a sense of humor. And I love when games have a sense of humor and kind of don't take themselves overly seriously. I think that's a good quality in games as well.
I agree. Like this next game that also doesn't take itself too seriously. It is pretty fun to play. So let's move on to our next game, everybody.
I wouldn't get it from that.
One-on-one, Dr. J versus Larry Bird, a deep cut pick. I love this.
Yeah, this is before your time.
Yes, it was before my time. I'm very youthful. I would love to hear about why this was on your list.
Yeah, so as I said, kind of starting in the arcades, going and playing with friends or just strangers who happen to be really good at a game that I wanted to learn. Then video games came into my house. First through the Atari 2600. I happened to play one-on-one on a Commodore 64, and my main nemesis was my father. I would play against my dad most nights. I was playing as Julius Erving. That was my go-to. But it was this kind of cool, it had a lot of those arcade, 2 players, kind of a single screen, tight connection. But I also just love the reference to the things that I wasn't a huge NBA fan or basketball player, but the fact that you could see, hey, these are people from the real world, even though, as you saw in the graphics, maybe they didn't look quite lifelike, but in your head, like I was playing as Dr. J, and I was playing a game that I still think the controls were amazing. If you think about it, you played that game with the Atari 2600 controller, 1 stick, 1 button, and you swore that you had complete control over your character when the character shot, and that there was actually skill in the game. So, but I have to say the connection with my dad, playing with him, competing, just kind of our nightly tournaments were a ton of fun, and just showed me that games was about my friends, but also something that we could do as a family.
Yeah, Punch-Out was that game for me and my dad, and he was merciless, never let me win.
Oh, you could take him.
I mean, I could now.
Yeah.
I mean, teaching my dad how to play with dual sticks for the first time was an experience, because I think we all have the memory of when we first learned to play with double sticks and how you have that, like, I'm only looking at the sky or only looking at the ceiling, period, and then it just clicks.
Yeah.
So that was a fun kind of journey for us as a father and daughter playing. And I think a lot of parents out there who game with their kids have those experiences. You know, I thought there was a really fun stat in the ESA's recent Essential Facts report saying that 83% of parents who play games play with their kids, which is an incredible number that so many parents who play want to also have that experience with their children. I mean, what do you think it is about video games that is such a unique bonding experience for parents and kids?
Yeah, I do think watching children make choice and consequence in video games is just like, it's a great learning experience. My daughters, as I said, are much older now. But even now, we play Sea of Thieves together, and watching us kind of get together, and everybody has their role. But I even think back when they started playing, and it's like, okay, we can go this way, we can go this way, there's consequence. Do we want to befriend this NPC? Do we want to attack this NPC? And it's, I'll say, a safe way for kids to see what the world is like, what choices mean. And then like another level of it, and this is kind of, again, part of my journey, when I started playing video games, Robotron, one-on-one, like I had no idea there was an industry that I could work in of actually making and video games being part of this industry. But now, you know, it's an industry that employs hundreds of thousands of people, has huge conventions like PAX here. I mean, it's an industry where you can actually build a livelihood. And then as kids, you start to think about, well, what does it take? I get asked all the time, like, what do I need to do to get into the games industry? And the cool thing is now you can be a writer, you can be an artist, you can be a programmer. Like, there's so many different things to do. I also love that it can spur kind of innovation in kids in terms of what they want, what they see themselves as when they grow up.
Absolutely. It was something I didn't have growing up either, and now there's scholarships and whole university programs and things dedicated to it. I've had several people ask me, like, can you tell me how my kid can, like, go to school to make video games? And I was like, do you have more idea about what they want to do? Because there's so many options.
That's right.
You know, art, programming, PR, I mean, it takes a village, right?
It does, and it makes it a lot more than just go get a math degree and learn how to program. Games today are true forms of art with so many different, as you say, disciplines that come together to make something special. So I like that. I like that in kids when play, you know, if I'm a big believer, if I can see it, I can be it. I can see people in the industry who maybe look like me, sound like me, and that inspires me as somebody who loves playing video games as a kid. Like I said, at the time, I had no idea that I'd ever end up in a position like this. But I do love now when kids are playing, it's like, hey, I want to work in the video game industry. And I think that's a great thing for the industry.
Absolutely. Come on, future generations, come join us, make some video games. I think I want to move on to our next game, though I do have a couple more questions I could ask you about Dr. J, but I want to make sure we get to all of the games that we're doing today. And this one is a fun one and a very different style of game that I don't think people are going to be expecting from you.
No?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to guess this third game in the list today. So let's see if we can get a little clip for you guys. No one? Yeah, we heard a dragon. No final guesses? Oh, I think I heard it. Ultima Online? Oh, no, that wasn't the guess? Oh, well, Phil, let's talk about Ultima Online.
In my EA years here, from one-on-one to Ultima Online.
Yeah, we're gonna hit some of the big guys here. So this is a very different style of game from the first two games. Obviously, games have moved forward quite a bit at this point in time. What got you into Ultima Online?
So, as I said, kind of growing up, I played chess, I played D&D. So when I figured out fantasy role-playing games on PCs, where the Dungeon Master was actually the computer, like that was a pretty fun thing. So I was a big player, like Gold Box games, some of the early Ultima games. And then somehow I got into the beta. I don't actually remember exactly. I think it was in '97 when the beta of Ultima Online came out. And I started to play. And it was really the first time for me where seeing other people running around the world I was in and knowing that these are other players from places unknown. I don't know them, but here they are in the same gameplay world that I was in. Was something that it's kind of eye-opening. And because games to me, other than sitting next to my dad, elbowing him, playing one-on-one, games had always been something that was fairly solo. And then I started playing Ultima Online, and just the unlock of being able to play with other people and the consequences of that was a pretty instrumental part of kind of framing how I think about video games.
I think the magic of MMOs is still magical today. The way the technology works, that all of these players can be in the same space, having this effect on the collective world that they're all in, is truly a really cool thing that is unique to video games. I gotta know what class you play.
Yeah, I had to go back and look at this. I'm pretty sure I was a ranger. That would have been, and this is pre-Lord of the Rings movies, so I'd say OG ranger, not some kind of newfangled ranger. That was, I'd say the thing that drove me the most crazy, other than getting PK'd in the game, which like the first time I walked over a bridge and like, oh look, there's some people hanging out by this bridge, I wonder what they're doing. And then there's this spell, Vas Flam, that I remember oh so well, which is basically fireball. And they torched me, and then they would kind of walk over my old stuff. And if anybody played Ultima Online when you were not with us anymore, you were a ghost. And I thought I could like grief them by kind of, as they were stealing my stuff, it had no impact. But the thing that drove me the most crazy, and maybe still inspires me with my like Diablo 4 time right now, is knowing that when I was sleeping, there were other people that were playing and their character was making progress more quickly than I was. And kind of that grind that you have to get up, you have to play. I'm not sure that's totally a healthy dynamic, but it drove me crazy to know that like I was used to when you turn off the game, turn off the PC, the game stops. But this was a game that kept going, and other people were making progress that I was not. And it inspired many, many hours of Ultima Online, which I still think is, one of the seminal moments in gaming all up when that came out, and the success that it drove. Took Ultima, a fairly single-player franchise, took it online, and I loved being a part of it. I played that game for years, and it's still up. Actually, I looked it up. I think people are running the kind of an open public domain server farm for it, and I was thinking about jumping back in. I have not yet. But it's so cool that these communities can continue and be preserved.
Absolutely. I mean, the digital preservation aspect is so important to games, but I love the sentiment of you wanted to make so much progress, you just like had to keep going. I think we've all had many late nights where we just didn't want to put the controller or the mouse and keyboard down or whatever device you're using to play, because you just wanted to keep progressing and get better and get good, get all the unlocks, all the gears.
Like I said, I'm not sure it's completely healthy as I continue to grind. Like there is step away from the controller and go outside and maybe eat or bathe. All of those things are good things to go do. But in terms of like for me and what it meant at the time, like it was a great place for me. And the one thing I didn't do, which we'll kind of get to in a little bit, when I was playing Ultima, all of the other players were strangers to me. And I never really made that leap to getting in a clan or meeting up with the people that I would see online. It was just, I was kind of too early in that journey But kind of thinking now in what things like Xbox Live are and Discord communities and where people play, obviously this connection of I see somebody online, I see their gamer tag or their player name, and then building real world friendships is something that's much more prevalent today. But for me in Ultima Online, it's kind of my first scratch of, oh, these are other players, I wonder who they are. And obviously that in today's gaming world is much more of a kind of a thing of people coming together even at conferences and meeting each other.
Yeah, PAX is such a wonderful place for that, like clans and guilds and people coming together. I know that one of my clans is here, which we're going to talk about when we talk about, some multiplayer stuff a little bit later on. But I love this idea that you were really just a solo player in a multiplayer environment, but that it was still a really impactful part of your journey overall.
Yeah, I mean, there were events, like if people remember the special event where Lord British got taken down, and this was like a moment that got written about, and you realize that, okay, these communities, the things that happen in those worlds might actually have persistence, might actually live outside the frame of the pixels on the monitor that I was playing on. I think now when you look back of it, I guess it's easy to think about as concerts taking place in games and games are going to movies and television, that, oh yeah, this was always going to be that video games were going to expand beyond what they were. But at the time, I wasn't smart enough to kind of see those trends, but it's cool to look back and see how and then, like you said, the industry has put together things like PAX, where people can come together and meet friends IRL that they play with. And I just love that about the industry. The connection with the community of players is, I think, to me, the most important thing about the industry.
I absolutely agree. I love that you can have friendships with people you've never met in person and have actual deep, meaningful relationships with them, and then you finally get to meet them in person, and it's like such a cool moment. Has anybody in here meeting a clanmate or a multiplayer person the first time? Yeah? Nice. I love this.
That's awesome.
It's happening, everybody. Well, I'm so glad we got to hear about your time playing Ultima. I'm sorry that they burned your body and took your stuff, though. That's part of the game, though, I guess.
Regretfully, it's not the last time that people have bombed my base or killed my character online. But it's part of gaming. It's okay.
You'll win the next one, Phil. You'll win the next one. Let's move on to our next game, because I have a feeling we're going to talk about this one for a little bit, because it's a big one. What, no one? Yeah, there we go. Yeah. There it is. Well, we couldn't talk about games that shaped your journey and not talk about the iconic Gears of War. So I love that you picked this one, and I can't wait to hear about why you picked it and some of the reasons why Gears is so important to you.
Yeah, so as I shift from somebody who plays a bunch of games to now working at Xbox, which is 2001, 2002, kind of around that time, Gears is actually the first game that me and my team, we signed. And it inherited a lot of games coming in, things like Fable and other things that I was in charge of seeing through. But Gears was really the first big decision on, we're going to go sign a game with a partner. At the time, it seemed like a big budget. Today, it's like the audio budget in one of today's games. But at the time, it seemed like a massive budget. And then seeing the production, the code name was Warfare, which I've said many times, and then watching with Cliffy and Tim and Mark Rain and Mike Capps how that game progressed and finally came out. And then, obviously, a bookend to that whole experience for me was this June at Showcase with the announce of E-Day, the fact that Gears is still here, still part of what so much of us care about in terms of what Xbox means and our history. So there's that, and we should dive into some of that. And then there's also some of the things about co-op and the kind of beautiful destruction of the game and the story. For me, kind of early in my Xbox time, being part of that production and some of the decisions that were made was really cool. And I definitely both appreciate and respect. what this game is.
It's such an incredible overview of where Gears started and where it is today. And I'm glad you brought up E-Day, because I definitely was crying in the audience when you guys rolled that trailer. I mean, the characters of the franchise alone are so impactful to so many people for so many reasons. Was there a particular character that you really resonated with, or was your favorite?
Yeah, I'm kind of traditional in these ways, so Marcus will just always be strong with me. Like, when people usually ask me what the best game in a franchise is, I usually start with version 1, because I know the bravery of building a new franchise, a new IP. And then Marcus, I think, carried so much of the weight in the first game that the character and kind of how he aged through the series, maybe there's some reflection in that. But yeah, all of the, obviously, creative, technical capability goes to Epic and the team that built the game, but being part of it and seeing its progression. And we should talk a little bit about how Gears became part of our portfolio, because it's an
I was
interesting
going
story.
to ask. Thank you for teeing me up. I think we should start with Epic and how you guys started that relationship working with Epic in the beginning.
Yeah, so the first game, if I'm doing this memory right, was Unreal Championship 2, I think we brought to Xbox. And it was the beginning of our relationship with Epic. It was, and for our perspective, and I worked for somebody named Ed Fries at the time who ran all of first-party games for Microsoft, and we were talking about engines that we needed to have successful on the platform. And obviously the Unreal Engine still such just a strength in the industry. So we said, if we go do a first-party game with Epic, obviously they're going to focus on the Unreal Engine on Xbox, and there's goodness for the industry and our platform if that happens. So let's go do Unreal Championship, and then the real goal was to sign Warfare. The thing is, when we got to the point of signing Gears, I remember going into Ed's office, and I won't name the other game because it's not fair, but there were 2 games that we could sign. I couldn't afford in the budget that I had to sign both of them. And they were both kind of big swings, as I said, from a budget standpoint at the time, seemed like huge investments and a lot of risk. And Ed just turned in and said I should make the call, which kudos to Ed. I appreciate the empowerment there. It also kind of freaked me out. But we made the decision to go with Warfare and Epic. Cliffy and Mike and the team there just had such passion for the game, and I have to say the fact that the game had co-op as part of its core kind of loop was a big part of me wanting this game to be part of our portfolio, because I just love sitting on the couch playing with friends, and like I said, it's kind of magical what the thing has turned into.
It's so wild sometimes when you think about the moments in time that have these giant ripple effects. Like, what if you had picked that other game? Like, where would we be right now? What would we be talking about? How would that have impacted not only what you guys are doing with your portfolio, but also Epic's portfolio and where they went? Was there a particular thing about what you saw that really stood out to you or was special to you that was like, this is the reason, besides the co-op functionality?
Yeah, when I think back on it, and I think this story has been told a couple of times, but it's good to revisit it. Obviously the game, even today, if you go back and look at Gears 1, and I'm actually playing through the campaign with a coworker, and she's never played the campaign. So the fact that we can go and play through it again, and it still holds up so well is great. But we knew the game was going to be beautiful. Like the goal for obviously Epic with the Unreal Engine, third person, so you're looking at the back of Marcus, so you've got this huge, just ornate texture that's covering a third of the screen. Let's go do an awesome job. And the story about the memory on Xbox 360 and how much RAM was going to be in the box, this was actually a game that drove our memory decision for 360. The choice was going to be to have smaller RAM footprint when we were going to launch. We all got together, Jay Allard, Ed, Peter, all of us in a room, and we brought in Gears to say, what could we do with the extra RAM that we were going to put in the 360? And it was really driving the visual fidelity of that game that pushed the decision. And when you make these decisions, which I see now, because in my role then I was first party, so RAM was just more stuff for us to fill up with cool looking graphics. But now you look at it and the cost is really significant. Like the bet that you're going to go sell tens of millions of these things, and every incremental dollar, and it was way more than $1, that this extra RAM hit on the box better pay off. And I think it did. Like when I think about the graphic bar that 360 set in the generation, Gears was really a fundamental part of that, even before we locked the hardware spec. And what was it going to mean to have games that look this amazing on the platform? And thank goodness it was there, because I think it really helped the 360 and what it became.
Absolutely. I think when you think Xbox, I mean, Gears is absolutely one of those pillar franchises that define who Xbox is as a brand for gamers. And I love that you mentioned co-op, because that's basically all I've played Gears is co-op.
Yeah.
And I love that they also have, you know, the multiplayer, and that's cool. But for me, it was all about horde mode.
Horde mode's co-op, yeah.
Have you ever done 0 to 50?
Yeah. And now, like, I'm playing Diablo 4 with Rod Ferguson, who was our producer on this, now the lead for Diablo. And I still reference things when we're playing together. So the new Horde in Diablo 4 is still Horde mode to me. Like every time I see any game, whether it's COD and their round-based zombies, it's Horde. And that was the beginning of so many of these kind of co-op round-based experiences in multiplayer, and they were a blast. Like everybody had a role. You take this flank, I'm going to take this flank, revive me, I'm down. Like that dynamic of shared achievement with your friends on a night when is just so rewarding for all of us. Like when we get through something, and I thought Gears kind of held that with just such a magical way.
I love that you brought up Rod. Rod is great. Shout out to Rod if you're watching. He led one of your studios inside Xbox in kind of the era where Gears went from being external to being internal.
Yeah.
And that was a really big moment for you guys.
Yeah, so we did Gears with Epic. They got to the point where this Fortnite thing, which I hear is going to be pretty big, was coming on. So their effort rightfully was going to be moving to something that was incredible for them as a company, but I didn't want Gears to go away. So, you know, the discussions with Tim Sweeney, Mark Rain about, hey, we would love to continue. And it was kind of a special coming together of Rod Ferguson, Coalition in Vancouver. We had to build a studio. We had some parts of a studio in Vancouver, but we had to build a studio to go and take that on, which has growing pains, and you learn, like, what does it mean to go build a game that others have built before? Not the easiest thing to go do, but now I'm so proud of what the Coalition can do. And then, funny enough, the world is a small place. Here's Rod working at Blizzard on Diablo, now part of Microsoft again as well. It's nice. And then tying it to the E-Day thing at Showcase, seeing that the Coalition, even without Rod and that kind of history with the franchise, I thought they just did a really nice job, even though it's kind of an intro piece of recognizing the things that are special about that franchise, down to some of the iconic music, to the characters that we love, some of which we've lost, but now we see. And I was really proud of the Coalition and how they put that forward, and I think did a really nice job of respecting the history of the franchise.
I'm excited to see more, Phil. When do we get to see more V-Day, Phil?
Not today, I'm sorry, but we will.
Nothing to announce at this time. I'm even more excited, though, to talk about the next game in the list, because this is a game we both have spent a lot of time playing, but sadly not together.
Have you ever played together?
No. We have to fix that. We'll fix it.
Okay.
All right, let's hear the clip. Yes, he picked it right away in the front row. I didn't think a lot of people would guess this because it's from Vanilla. Destiny, the OG. I love that you picked this. Am I a Destiny stan? Absolutely. Anybody who follows me knows this. The What's Good Guardians are here, which is fantastic. And I would love to hear about why you picked Destiny and how this game arrived in your journey.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny has, there's so many kind of mixed emotions and stories for me around Destiny. Obviously, Bungie was part of Microsoft. When I started in Xbox, Bungie was already part of Xbox. And I shared a floor with Alex Seropian, Jason Jones in the building that we were in Redmond. And I learned a ton from just being around Bungie and how to build games and Alex's approach and Jason's approach to design. I would spend a ton of time down their offices talking to them about stuff I was working on and getting their feedback. So, Bungie, both as part of Microsoft and then spinning Bungie out, getting the pitch for Destiny on do we want to sign this? We ended up not signing Destiny. I'd obviously went with Activision, and to seeing what it grew into, like from a business kind of Xbox standpoint, I can look at it and it's just a really interesting journey in terms of what they built. Their history with Halo, as somebody who loves Halo, like I can look at Destiny 1 and you can see some of the continuation of things that they learned about having one iconic character that everybody is, like Master Chief is the center of the Halo universe. But in some ways from storytelling, maybe that constrains you a little bit. So then you go and you build a game where your lead character, your guardian, is something that you configure and all of the unlocks that has. But then from a gunplay and other things, movement, it's a Bungie game. Like it feels so great. I have to be honest, when Destiny 1 came out, and I might have played some of the preview builds that we were doing on Xbox, it didn't really click with me, right? I'm not a big PvP player. If somebody looks at my you can see my player history. It's not a lot of what I do. And I was a little worried that I was going to get thrown into a PvP world. And it turns out that's not what it was at all. And when Wolves came out, it definitely landed me. And then we should talk about it, like from a gaming standpoint, and things I learned through play and community. There's a whole nother side of it. But the thing about Destiny that I start with is just my history with Bungie and their evolution of working on games. I do love that it's a local team. I have a lot of friends over there still. And yes, they're owned by the other guys now, but it's a game that I'll always love and a team that I'll always have a ton of affinity for.
No, small pangs of, dang, we could have had it.
I got so many of those. I've passed on some of the worst, made some of the worst game choice decisions. This isn't in our list, but an interesting one. When this team came down to Redmond, and Alex Rogopoulos, and it was great. Love Alex.
He's amazing. Shout out to Alex.
And he pitches a game where they're actually going to make plastic guitars, and they're going to plug into consoles, and then they're going to sell tracks where you're going to play Simon on this guitar, an old reference. And I'm like, really? Do we really think that's going to work?
No one's going to play that, Phil.
And a few people played Guitar Hero. I hear that turned into a pretty good game.
Yeah,
and then
that
Rock Band and everything.
That did okay, I think.
Rock Band, yeah, the whole thing turned. So I've passed. I'm not a regrets type person. Maybe that's a fault of mine, but I passed on so many games that I could look back and say, but no, I try to look forward and be positive about the things that we are doing. And so with Destiny, I just like to celebrate what the team has done.
I mean, it's incredible. I remember in the beginning years of Destiny, when Activision was talking about a 10-year plan, a lot of us were like, what? 10 years? That's really ambitious. But now here we are at the 10-year mark, and we just had the final shape earlier this summer, and it's been incredible to see how the game has changed so much over the course of the years. And we couldn't talk about Destiny without talking about who's your main?
Titan, all day.
Okay. I'll allow it, though I'm a cape girly. I'm a hunter main. Yeah, that's right. Capes unite. When you were playing Destiny, we already talked about how PvP wasn't your thing.
Yeah,
the PvE,
not a big Crucible player.
I'm with you. PvE is where I'm at home too, and it's a core part of the Destiny experience for millions of players.
Yeah.
Do you have a fire team that you always roll with, or do you kind of pick up and play, or do matchmaking ever?
So, Destiny 1 and then rolling into Destiny 2, kind of going back to my in real life people, was the first game where I actually met people first in game who I then met in the real world and some of my best friends even to this day. People I've been playing games with for 10 years, Destiny with, and now I play other things as well. But that was something that was really eye-opening to me. And the thing I love, and sits at like the core now for me in my love of video games, is these are people I met who I would never have run into in the streets of Seattle in my hometown here. I would not have met them in my work or my circle of that I normally see. That I met these people because we needed to finish the Nightfall on a Tuesday before the Tuesday reset. So we jumped in, and it was like, come on, let's go run it together and save the world, or at least try to get the drop, and then try, and then it turned into more than that. So then we would start playing together, and as most times happens when you have the headset on, at first you're talking about strategy in the game and what you need to go do, but after maybe the 30th or 40th Nightfall or strike or raid, like the conversation goes in other places, and you start talking about life, and you start talking about what are you doing in your world, what's happening. And for me, it connected me with people that I think in the real world I would have never met. And I think what a special thing that video games can do of build connection with people, not based on where you live or where you went to school or where you work, or even what you believe and what you look like, but rather this shared love of this art form of video games. And then I've been lucky enough, like whether it's at E3 or other shows, to get together with people that I met through play in Destiny. And like those friendships, I believe, will be with me for the rest of my life. And the fact that video games were the catalyst for building those connections with people who live in other countries, people who are kind of dealing with their own stuff. And when I'm playing, just to be clear, I'm not head of Xbox. I'm just the guy who can't shoot anything with any level of aim. So I get yelled at with just
so that's why you're a Titan. It all makes sense.
I need the tank.
Yes, I threw some shade. It's okay. We're all friends here.
But I also love that. Like, I love that when I'm playing, like, I should be. I'm just another person with a controller in my hand. But the fact that video games, it's almost complete circle for me of going to arcades, which were all about the physical connection with other people around me, loving Robotron or Defender or Stargate or whatever it was that we were playing, to playing solo, to seeing other people online, but not really having a connection. To now, games where I probably it's one of my primary source of new friends is playing with people online. So going back to your question, sorry, long-winded.
No, I love this anecdote. It's wonderful.
Sometimes my Fire Team or Xbox Live party is wide open. Sometimes it's closed. Usually it's just about, hey, we're full and there's this number of people who are going to go. I'm playing a ton of Diablo 4 right now of Go Run Durials. But I love people I get to meet online, whether it's just meeting people online or people who want to talk about gaming in Xbox, or if we want to talk about the game that we're playing, or we just want to talk about life. And the fact that video games builds those connections between people who have such a broad set of backgrounds, I just think is awesome.
It's interesting hearing from people just how many intimate connections with people that they've formed over video games. I have the exact same experience you did with Destiny, having met people online and then having them meet IRL and being like, oh my gosh, let's be friends, like for real, let's like plan more of these things.
Yeah.
But also the amount of people that have met their partners or spouses through video games, of which I am one of them, is also an incredibly high number. Are there people in the audience that have met their spouse or partner through video games? Yeah, a good amount of people, and I think that speaks to the power of the medium and how it inspires passion and conversation and fun and silliness, and sometimes stress when you're in the 5th or 6th hour of the raid and you haven't cleared like the second boss or whatever, right? I think we all have that Destiny experience as well, but I think it's so important to drive home that message that it more connects us than divides us when it comes to life in general, but specifically games and the way we play them.
Yeah, and I think with video games specifically, as a kid who grew up, as I said, kind of a chess playing, D&D playing comic book kid, I wasn't always comfortable, definitely not being on stage. I'm still not. But I wasn't always comfortable being out there. But when I was playing video games, when we're playing, we can kind of describe through our own comfort who we are and how we want to be seen and what we want to be called. And I think there's real power in video games and letting us control the narrative around us, because there's a lot of stereotypes that sometimes come in from the outside. And for me, at least in my journey in playing video games, it was nice that, one, I could find a community of people who loved the same stuff that I liked. But also when we got online, like you could kind of, you meet people and it's not about what they look like or anything else. It's probably about their shared love of the game you're playing, and their desire to kind of stick out that 5th hour to finish the raid together and accomplish something with friends. And I think that tells a lot about who people are, and I think that's awesome. One thing I also want to say about Destiny, I'm kind of going back, but just in thinking about my learning on Destiny, because I was teasing a little bit about the Tuesday Nightfall wipes, I've also watched gaming as an industry really grow in how it programs time and how it engages us, not just the hours that we want to play. And some games might go a little bit too far in this, but I love the fact that they're kind of scheduled gaming now. Like there are things that you need to go do, or you choose not to, but that they actually spend time thinking about this as an activity, and they create a moment where they do pull people together of like, okay, there's a moment, like if you think about Destiny and the event on the tower and everybody kind of coming together, like those moments of bringing community together and how video games continue to grow to create more reasons for the community to come together on a regular schedule, I think makes it really nice for some of us that are very busy. And but I'm not going to miss the Nightfall, so I'll be there on Monday night.
I'm going to miss my solstice gear.
That's right.
Gotta get
That's
it.
right.
Gotta have the glowies. Maybe that's just me. We're getting towards the end of our time, and I wanted to ask a question that kind of brings your journey full circle. So we were just talking about how video games have evolved both from an art and technological standpoint. They're certainly much more complex and diverse today than they were when your journey began, you know, back with Robotron. What are some of the hopes or aspirations that you have for the incoming generations of gamers that have this incredible backdrop of where video games are at today?
And one of the things I really see a lot of now, just from my position, is where games come from. Like when I started, there were like 4 places on the planet where games were built, you know, whether it was England or Japan or Hunts Valley in Maryland. Like there were a few places where video games were really from, but now video games come from anywhere. We've got our first ID games coming from Nigeria that'll be coming to the platform. We run game camps in so many different places where we engage youth in learning the skills of building a video game, and we see those games published. Southeast Asia, Brazil, China, obviously now, I mean, huge games. And I love the fact that the stories that are told in those games, consciously or subconsciously, will always be told through the lens of the creator and their lived experience. And it's just how special is it now where the kids growing up, or any of us that are playing, that we're playing games that have come from so many different places with different perspectives. And I think that's such a healthy thing for our industry. The fact that you and I can go build a game today, and we can publish it on any of the consoles or on Steam, wherever we want, put that game in front of literally billions of people, and those games can become successful. It's one of the reasons I love what you mentioned, Vampire Survivors earlier, but like those kind of stories of a person with a vision of, I'm going to go create a game. Maybe they get told no a few times by some publishers or studios, so they go and they do it themselves. And the fact that games are so open and platforms are much more open to games from anywhere and from teams of any size, I just think really creates an awesome place for so many different stories to be told by an amazing set of creators, and that excites me.
It's a fantastic place to be. We say all the time, what a great time to be a gamer.
Yes.
TM. trademark that. Phil, this has been so lovely hearing about some of the games that have shaped your journey. I could keep talking to you about other games for literally hours, but I know that these people probably want to head on over to the expo, maybe play some games for themselves. Do you have any parting thoughts before we say goodbye?
Well, I would be remiss sitting here at PAX on 20 years, our hometown show for Seattle. Just congratulations to the Penny Arcade team and all the work that they've done. I remember when the show was like in hotels, then the kind of when we had one convention center and let's just say we didn't really fit in there as PAX, and the garbage cans and other things would show that, to seeing what they've done now with a show that's in multiple locations. They've stuck it out and built something amazing for 20 years. Seeing what the show floor is today and how companies like Nintendo and stuff are just doing some amazing things here. I just wanted to help celebrate 20 years. I asked if I could do this, and to be part of the 20-year celebration of PAX is a real honor, and I want to honor the people who have put this show on for so long, because I think it's a really important part of the industry. So thank you.
Definitely deserve a round of applause. Phil, thank you so much for sharing the games that shaped your journey, and thank you to the entire team at Penny Arcade and everybody who's in the support staff, and we hope that you guys have a fantastic PAX West. Happy 20 years.
I'm going to give this my all. You ready?
Then I don't need to hold back.
Soul versus Kai. Let's rock.
At least you're enthusiastic. Get me one.
And so begins, at long last, my world peace experiment.
Can't we just kill him together?
Are you ready?
I am bound, diminished, imprisoned in this wretched cage they call paradise. But my power lingers. It seeps into the very earth, but in vain. It calls to them, mortals. They come seeking fortune, wealth, and glory, blind to what truly awaits, claiming the strength that flows through this land, taking each boon without knowing the cost. You are the key to my freedom. Your souls fuel my return. Soon I will rise again. Your sacrifice will be my salvation.
Please welcome to the stage Chief Communications Officer for Gearbox Entertainment, Dan Hewitt.
Hey, everybody. Wait, do we need to do that again? Do we need a better introduction? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Dan Hewitt. There we go. Wow, holy bananas, there are a lot of people here. Thank you so much for making time during PAX, and welcome to the Gearbox Main Theater Show. We're so thrilled to have you here. And if you are watching from home, or if you're working from home, we are thrilled that you're watching us online. You're a part of our Gearbox family as well. Now, a little bit of housekeeping thing. I will tell you, I've been having a little bit of a morning. My day started with a call from Randy Pitchford, and I picked up the phone, saw it was him. It's like, hey, Randy, what's up? Unfortunately, Randy told me that he's not feeling the best right now. He's feeling a little bit rough, feeling a little bit tough, and at Gearbox, we prioritize people's health. And so he and I talked about, you know what, maybe it's best if you kind of hang back. I'm worried about the team. He's worried about the team. We want to make sure that all of you are as safe as possible. So we made the decision to not have Randy be in the show today. But can we do one thing? I'm confident. As a matter of fact, I'm 100% sure he's watching online. Can we all give him a round of applause and send him our love? We love you, man, and we hope that you're feeling on top of the world soon. So at this point in a normal PAX show, you'd get a magic trick. But there is no magic trick today. If you really missed the Randy magic trick, I bet you can go to YouTube, and there are plenty of great tricks on there. You can watch those there. How about we do this? How about we get straight into the games? Folks want to talk about games? Yeah. There we go. That's fantastic. All right, I want to welcome to the stage Bruno Fontanetti from the Risk of Rain team. Bruno, come on out. Hey, Bruno.
Hi.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm very excited to be here.
I bet you are. What do you got cooking?
Oh, first of all, I want to say hello, PAX. Hey, so of course I'm Bruno Fontanetti, the Risk of Rain 2 lead game designer. Excuse me. And that just means I work with a lot of creative developers at Gearbox to work on the Risk of Rain franchise, and we're so excited about it. We are so proud to take up and build where Hopu Games has left off. They've created such a wonderful foundation for us. We've been working with them for years, and we've been supporting their projects, and we're super honored to take up the reins. Now, we have some very big shoes to fill, but we've been taking some steps, like releasing our DLC, Seekers of the Storm, as a Gearbox first DLC. Hey, Dan.
Yeah?
Can you show these wonderful people what we've been working on?
Do you guys want to see what we've been working on? Let's roll it. That looks so good, and you know what I love about it? I love seeing Chef back in the mix. That just is perfect.
We do too. We absolutely love Chef. Secrets of the Storm is now available on PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and all modern generations of console hardware. I want to take a beat and talk about a little bit about how much the team loves this IP, and we've been working really hard on patches and to address all the feedback that we've been getting out there. More patches and information will be coming out soon. We are super excited to be part of the growth and the future of the Risk of Rain franchise. Now, if you want to know more or keep up to date with us, please join us on Discord or any social media. Risk of Rain 2, Secrets of the Storm, is just the beginning of what we have planned, and we're so excited to share more with you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Bruno. I appreciate it. How about that? That was his first time out here. That was amazing. He did such a great job. All right. Let me ask you a question. Who wants free things? Who loves free things? Let's get the free things started. Hey, Erica Hollinshead-Stead.
Please welcome to the stage Erica Hollinshead-Stead, Director of Franchise Creative Development.
My friend.
And Sam Winkler, Narrative Director.
All right. So, do you guys want to play a game? All right. So we are going to play a game of swag or fail. Are you scared? A little bit, little bit. Okay, before we do, we need to have a quick word about our sponsor of the game, which is GearboxLoot.com, your place for all your Gearbox loot needs. All right, so I need some assistance up here, so I'm going to be assisted by our lovely Sam.
Hi.
And also Joel, wherever Joel is. So I think my assistants are pretty lovely, but I don't know if they're lovely enough. So I might need some more help. There are a few of you out there who I gave Sad Claptrap birthday party tokens to earlier. Bring those on up.
Big hand for our participants.
Woo! Yeah, come on, I need lots of cheering here.
Encourage them.
Do we?
All right. So, as we get these participants to the stage, let's talk about the rules of our game. We are going to give challenges to our participants. They are not going to be able to win anything for themselves. They are trying to win things for you guys. Whoop! All right. Now, check underneath your seat. There may be an index card with a picture of a D20 under your seat.
Or a car?
What? There may be a car?
Yeah.
There may be a car. If you, for some reason, are in a chair that does not have a card, just look around under other chairs that are unoccupied, because that would be awkward. And see if you can locate on your personal D20. All right, let's have you all stand up here. All right, yeah, just kind of roughly form a line. Let's see, yep, Joel's gonna put you right in place. Okay, so I see all of you are all dressed up. You put a lot of effort into your outfits. Would you say that you guys are all big Borderlands fans? A little bit, little bit. Are you dedicated to this community? Dedicated enough that you are willing to win prizes for them while you win nothing?
Nothing at all!
Do I get my pound of flesh?
We'll see about that. We'll talk after. All right, so are we ready to play swag or fail? All right. Let's start with a softball question. This is going to be trivia. You all are going to confer amongst yourselves. If they look lost, you guys help them, okay? The question is, who are Moxie's children? Confer quickly. Do you know? All right. Ellie and Scooter, that is correct. All right. And I messed up. I didn't tell you what prize we're playing for. We're playing for the World of Borderlands lore book. But again, not for you guys. For you guys, nothing. Let's find out who gets the lore book. The lovely Sam is going to roll a dice.
Dice. That's a 4.
4. Check your D20 on your card. If you have a 4, come on down to this side of the stage to claim your lore book. All right. And let's have another prize on the board. We got to roll fast so we can give away a lot of prizes. we have a bandit minifigure, which at least one of you probably wishes you could have. All right, so next question, and you guys might need to confer amongst yourselves for this. What protein is contained in bandit blood? Please answer in the form of a pun. All right, time is ticking. Do you have an answer?
Good protein.
Good protein. I'm sorry, that is not the answer we're looking for.
That wasn't even a
The answer we
pun.
are looking for is mehemoglobin.
Boo.
Okay, moving on from that one. Our next challenge is going to be a challenge for all of you together. Again, some of you could win some of these assorted Borderlands t-shirts. You up here must participate, and you can win
Nothing!
nothing. All right, so we are going to have everyone on stage, everyone in the audience, dance like Claptrap, exactly like Claptrap, for 1 minute. And to help with that, can we get some wub wub?
3, 2, 1, drop!
You too, Sam, come on! Check them out, they're dancing! All right,
This guy's into it.
cut the music! I know that wasn't 1 minute, but I want to give away more prizes. This is a hard one to call. Do y'all think you passed or failed? If you think you passed, you're going to have to get a little bit more serious about it. Tell me you passed. All right, I think we can roll on it.
And the winner of the dice. 12!
12! If you have a number 12 on your D20, come on down and get your t-shirt. T-shirts are going to be random. You can trade them amongst yourselves if you would like. All right.
They're all larges. You get what you see.
Let's get another prize on the board. We've got a Zane statue from Weta Workshop.
Yeah.
And let's do a little Zane trivia. You guys ready? Everybody ready? Which of these is not an actual skill from Zane's action tree, from Zane's skill tree? No Way Out, Bad Dose, Double Pour, Salvation, or Death Follows Close? Confer amongst yourselves. Be quick. Do you guys know what it is? Yeah. Nobody's going to help them? Nobody's going to help them?
Which one of you guys?
Yell it out if you know. All right, give me your final answer. What's your answer altogether? D? That is not the answer we're looking for.
She doesn't want the D.
Oh.
Thanks, guys. It was fun. Thanks a lot.
Okay, for a saving throw, if our bandit can yell a bandit line, should we let somebody win the Zane statue? All right. All right, Sam, let's roll them.
Dice. 19.
Number 19. Who's got a number 19? Come on down. All right. For this one.
Less enthusiasm.
We're going to need, woo! We're going to need some props. All right. Okay, let's see. Let's have you be in charge of the labels. And we're going to give each of you a skin. Okay. All right, so hold them up like it's a photo op. Let's see your faces on these skins. Yep, yep. Okay. All right, so the task is that collectively, they need to correctly label each of these skins. You guys can help. So if you think you know, go ahead and shout it out. All right.
Who's this one?
Who do we have here? What's this one? Our choices are He's on Fire, Clean Slate, All-Seeing Eye, and Midnight Sky. All right, we have labeled one. On to the next one.
This is the crowd that's talking. These are the smart people.
I'll give you the next one when you're ready. All right. All right. Okay, audience. Is this Midnight Sky? Is this All-Seeing Eye? Is he on fire? That seems like a problem. Okay. Is this Clean Slate? All right, let's check them. Midnight Sky, correct. All-Seeing Eye, correct. He's on fire, correct. 100%. All right, Sam. Sam, I need you to roll me a really good one for this.
I can do that right now with my dice. That's going to be a 1.
A 1.
Who's number 1?
If you are a critical failure, come on up here. You're going to get a Borderlands hat, so you'll have a head to go with those skins. All right, can we have some applause for our critical failures here? You've all failed very well. All right, let's get another prize on the board. We got to go fast here. We have a copy of issue number 1 of Tiny Tina's Wonderland's Land of the Giants comic book. The question is, what do these characters have in common? Tannis, Lilith, Maya, Brick, Angel. They're all sirens! I actually thought that was going to be a little harder question than that. All right, Sam, are you going to roll?
I am going to roll my dice. 14!
14. If you've got a 14, come on down and get your comic book. All right, should we let these people set these signs down? No? I guess you guys can set the signs down. I like the signs too. But we do need you to do something. So. All right. I'm going to go over here and just loot something from Sam.
My dice!
Sorry, buddy. You get nothing.
Nothing.
All right. So let's have a reminder. What are these people going to get?
Nothing.
All right.
0.
But for all of you who know that the prettiest siren's name is Rick, you're probably going to be pretty excited about this prize. We've got a deluxe edition of Bunkers and Badasses tabletop RPG. Excited? All right. We need somebody amongst you to roll a 20. One by one, approach the podium. Okay, before you roll.
Wisely.
It's going to be, nobody out here is going to be able to see what the roll is, so we need you to get real animated. We need you to show like big exuberant joy or like crushing defeat and failure, okay? Let's see your joy. Joy? Show me joy. Come on.
Practice joy.
All right.
Experience
Crushing
joy now.
defeat. Show me crushing defeat. All right.
You seem
haven't
a lot more
lost
comfortable
yet.
with defeat.
All right. Bandit, roll them.
Joy.
What am I trying to do?
You're trying to roll a 20. I need somebody to roll a 20. No! Defeat!
Next.
All right.
This day.
0. Should I let them have an additional chance? All right. Crushing defeat! All right.
Did you roll a 0?
Lilith? No, 20.
Add a dice.
All right.
Come, be merciful.
Sorry, Sam. All right, let's have the handsomest one.
They gave me one line to say, okay?
Come on, everybody.
Were you in the mirror going,
No 20s. All right, Sheriff. All hope is
Do we have
on
like
you.
10 more dice?
All the hope is on Nisha here. She's not very nice generally.
Can we get her off the stage?
I can't take this. 20.
Yay!
20.
20!
Everybody
Where's the 20?
wins.
20. We have so many 20s up here. We have 4 20s, you guys. All right. That was not even an intentional joke. All right. So, Sam, can you roll to find out who gets it?
I already did.
You did? What'd you get? What'd you get?
It's a 6.
It's a 6.
Who's got a 6? Look at that big
All right.
6.
Let's find another question here. But you know what? I bet somebody out there has got a 20 on their card. If you've got the 20 on your D20 on your card, why don't we just give them another Bunkers and Badasses? You guys, we are not going to do that if you're not hyped. Come on. All right. Okay. All right, maintain that hype level. For this challenge, our prize, there are some adorable little plushy keychains, various characters. We're going to need you to label, Joel's getting our prop here, you're going to have to label the anatomical parts of a skag. So this challenge has a couple of rules. You have to use all of the labels, and all of the labels must be placed correctly. Do we have our skag easel? Our easel has gone missing.
Got
it. All right.
Another well-rehearsed skit.
We're so good at physical comedy, you guys.
Just put it up. Just go for it. Doing it live. Let's go.
I know how it works.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We've got a picture of a skag. Joel, can you get our skag labels, please?
Our which now?
I know where they're
Labels.
at. Okay.
I thought you said skag weevils, and I was like, what are you talking
Get the skag labels.
One to each player?
Go ahead, pass them out. They're going to have to work together to label all the parts of the skag. Here, you got 2 hands. All right. Label the parts of the skag. I'll move it up a little bit. Remember, you must use every label, and they must be placed correctly. All right. I'm going to give you a few minutes. Go.
Go. Yeah, don't wait. Just go for it.
All right. Okay. We got to check our work here. All right, we've got a mouth, roughly where the mouth is. This where the mouth is? Is this the eye? The claws? The spikes? Hold up a minute, guys. Before we go to that other place, how would you all like to get a digital goodie that everyone can have? Okay, so we're playing for all the things now. Somebody's gonna get some plushy keychains, and if this works out, all of you can have that digital goodie. Let me check the answer here. I am sorry. Technically speaking, skags do not have buttholes. So this answer is incorrect.
It's a Trojan butthole.
Is that when someone puts a wooden horse up your butthole and you, I don't.
You said it, not me.
Yeah.
Correct!
Is this a correct solve? Let's check the cards. The card reads, as gags do not have buttholes, the only correct solve is to pin the butthole label on the host.
You're a harsh mistress. You have to niter with the butthole. Forehead.
Just like the queen does.
In all honesty, though, guys, I don't think we can count that as a pass because you needed a lot of help.
Count it! Count it! Count it! Count it!
Should we count it?
I don't want to give it to them.
Are you sure?
They called me a butthole.
Do you need a hug?
Quiet you.
Do you need a hug to feel better about this? All right. Just give him the prize. It's okay. We're going to be all right.
Yeah.
We're doing this together.
Okay. I'm going to hold that digital goodie because I'm mad. But let's go ahead and roll for the keychains.
Ooh, rolling for keychain with my dice. We got 18.
18. If you've got an 18, come on down. Well, I think I've been yelling a little bit too much, guys. All right. I don't want to give you the digital goodie. I think you guys like free stuff. Do you like free stuff? Now I'm not convinced. Do you guys like free stuff or not? All right. I think they like free stuff, but I think there's something we could give them that they want more.
A car?
I said something we could give them. I think they would rather hear about Borderlands 4.
Oh, damn!
Let's poll the audience. Free digital goodie? Borderlands 4. Let's poll the audience on. Oh, wait, you guys get nothing.
We have to leave for the
All right. We're going to go ahead and go with Borderlands 4. But before we do, let's go ahead and get some surprises for our people on stage anyway, even though they called me a butthole.
You don't get nothing.
You don't get nothing. All right. This has been Swag or Fail. Let's have some applause for our participants and our lovely assistants and also our critical failures.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take you off the back way, and we'll get your surprises out there. And to talk about that thing that you guys really want to talk about, let's bring out Andrew Reiner.
stage Andrew Reiner, Global Creative Executive Officer.
Hello, PAX. Good to see everyone. Wow, what a crowd. All right, who wants to learn a little bit about Borderlands 4? You know what? Let's gauge how much we reveal by how much noise you make. Let's try that again. Who wants to hear a little bit about Borderlands 4? Actually tricked you. We can't reveal everything, but that amount of volume would have been dedicated to revealing the entire game. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Andrew Reiner. I'm the Global Creative Executive Officer at Gearbox. Randy Pitchford invited me to be here, a part of the Gearbox team about 2 years ago. And on my first day of work, he sat me down and showed me Borderlands 4. You can't ask for a better first day of work. And I've been playing it pretty much every day since then, and it keeps getting better and better. But on that first day, what I saw made me have my jaw on the floor. I was blown away, and not just by what I was seeing on screen, but the ideas that the team is applying to this game. It's truly outstanding, and I think I can confidently say we're making the best Borderlands game to date. Yeah. And we have some of the team here to walk you through what we're making. And we're going to show you a little bit of stuff too, not from in the game itself, but you'll see some stuff. Collectively, this group of people has about 100 collective years of development time working on Borderlands games. It's amazing. This is a senior team. They know what they're doing, and they're crushing it. So without further delay, let's bring out Anthony Nicholson, our senior product producer. Hello, hello. Good to see you, buddy.
What's up, y'all?
Graham Timmons, our creative director. Adam May, our art director. Sam Winkler, our narrative director.
First time!
Welcome to the stage, Sam.
Stunning debut.
And then Randy Varnell, our chief creative officer. All right, let's start with the teaser trailer a little bit here. You're seeing that on screen. You got Elpis there. Varnell, let's go back to day one. The planning that goes into something like this. How do we unveil a new Borderlands game?
Man, we literally start working on the next Borderlands like literally the hours after we ship the previous one. So like at the tail of Borderlands 3, where we're playing the game, we're watching you guys play the game, we're all enjoying that experience together, and then in those ensuing weeks, we're thinking about what can we do to continue that journey together? What can we do to do it even more, right? To think about that. We're here at the very beginning of the Borderlands 4 journey with you guys, and we love opening up at PAX because PAX is the best. You guys are the real fans, right?
Absolutely.
We wanted to give you, so this is again, keep in mind, really, really early. We're just starting talking about Borderlands 4. We got the teaser trailer out. We're going to talk about that. We're going to a little bit of stuff today. In the coming weeks and months, you're going to hear a lot more exciting things about Borderlands 4. So on the teaser trailer, though, it starts like it always does, a group of creative people sitting in a room, and we start asking ourselves, what are the coolest things that we can do that? So the teaser trailer, we started that work about 2 or 3 months ago, right? When we're thinking about getting ready for the moment a couple of weeks ago in PAX, and we get together and like, how do we think about the journey we've been on in previous Borderlands, and how do we go to a new place? What are the cool things that we do? What are the cool images? Where's that first image that you put on screen? And we all kind of throw things out at the wall, and we come up with familiar things like planets and cool effects and art, but then Firehawks, right?
Yeah, and what are some of those cool things that people will get really excited about? We want to make sure that they're pumped up about the things, but we don't want to reveal too much because that's why they're teaser trailers. But yeah, the Firehawk stuff, Sam, you guys really were thinking about how do we want to hit each of these individual beats to make sure that people are excited about what we're trying to hint at here.
Right. Well, the Firehawk is the beginning of this trailer, but really it's the ending of Borderlands 3. Has anyone played Borderlands 3? Has anyone beaten it?
I did.
Endgame? No one's at Endgame.
Sam, walk us through the narrative that's going on this trailer.
Well, so the last thing we saw in Borderlands 3 was the climactic events in which the moon of Elpis was going to destroy the planet Pandora. And our hero Lilith, a siren who is able to teleport using phase walk, sacrifices herself in order to teleport away the entire moon of Elpis. That happens mere seconds before what we see behind us here.
You wonder where the moon went?
There
it is.
It went somewhere.
Somewhere.
In the 6 galaxies.
Same universe.
Same universe. A patch of space that no one's seen in a long, long time, and there's a reason for that. We see the moon collide with this cloaking veil that is obscuring a planet. And what we see next tells us a little bit about what's going on in that planet.
First, this planet is hidden from the universe.
Completely. Hasn't been seen in ages.
So brand new.
And Adam, you had a nice contribution. What we're seeing here on these screens right now is the veil being shattered here. Can you talk about kind of your contribution? And you had this kind of eureka moment like, hey, I have an idea.
Yeah, that was actually a fun challenge. It was something we went back and forth on quite a bit. We had a whole slew of different iterations. We actually started out with something more ethereal, kind of like a giant projection, digital projection around the planet. And
like Wub Wub if it were in visual form.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit of sound up there, and that's it. But we quickly realized that just wasn't an interesting enough collision when the moon hits like a digital projection. And so we realized we needed to do something more physical with it. And so we looked at like breaking glass and a few other things. And finally I stumbled upon like some reference of these giant icebreaker ships that they use for exploring like different poles that, crash their ships up against these giant plates of ice and they shatter and fly all over the place. And we were like, wow, now that's something cool. And that was it. And then we knew we had something that was awesome.
I mean, I don't know why I just didn't pull from all the existing reference of like actual planets colliding into other mystical, invisible planets. There's a lot of that on the internet.
Yeah, that would have made it easier for sure. But no, this was a lot of fun. It's always cool to pull from like real life things. There's so much interesting, cool things out there that there's always a bottomless pit of things you can draw from.
Yeah, we had another moment. Randy Pitchford, we were in a creative session. There was like 17 of us on the call, and he turned off his camera. And it turns out he was like directing and acting in his own little video. You're seeing it on the screens here, but we were stuck on that mask flip moment. Vernell, you kind of want to go into that.
Yeah, and one thing I love about our fans is just watching the cosplay, like so many of you share that heart of creativity with us. Like, so you know what it is to make something, right? And look for that moment where you're about to reveal it to your friends, you're about to show it off, right? So you work on a trailer and we look for those moments and we really scrutinize those like seconds and half a seconds of timing. So we were all on a call trying to figure out, and Randy Pitchford, I wish he could be here talking about this today. He got frustrated. He's like, okay, watch out. And he literally turned around where he has bandit masks sitting around him, right? Grabbed one off the shelf and took, you see it, I think back here, we took it and said, flip it around, like this is how it needs to go. You want that moment, that iconic vision of Borderlands, the bandit mask with the vault symbol on it, flips around and hits, and it's timed that way in the video. And if you look at like what they did, the guys who put the video together for us literally mirrored that timing almost exactly. Like it was the moment that we did that, and it's a dozen of those moments and 100 of those moments that make the game and make the games that we bring to you guys.
Graham, I want to go over to you on the second half of this teaser trailer. There's kind of a raining effect, meteors coming in. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, there's a reason everything's in the trailer, right? And Elpis shows up here and it rains down these meteors on the planet as an important element of what we're looking at here in the future. We wanted to have spectacle and effects and audio go on and really try to give people a little insight to this new world, this new undisclosed planet, and how this source of chaos arrives here when this big moment happens, how disruptive it is to this planet and to what it's doing.
And if you kind of go frame by frame through this, there's some secrets in there. A lot of people have figured them out, but there's also a city there. There's civilization.
Yeah, we know you guys. We know that you're going to take every frame of that, every word that we say on this panel and try to read in between what's going on. We have to be careful because there are marketing ninjas that will descend from the ceiling if we say certain trigger words. So we have to be careful.
Let's go to Borderlands 4 now, like proper the game. When I was a game journalist in a different life, one of my favorite questions to ask developers was, what was that initial spark that led to the creation of the game, or a sequel? It's always different. Sometimes that spark goes all the way through the creation of the entire game. It could be an innovative gameplay concept. It could be a unique storyline, or even creating an entirely new genre like we did with Borderlands all those years ago, right? The looter shooter. This is the OG. Farnell, let's go into that a little bit. Just kind of talk about day one. When we knew we kind of hit the ground running with Borderlands 4.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we sit down in a room together, and literally, if you commiserate on being creators, right? We sit down with that empty whiteboard, that blank piece of paper, that empty pinboard, and we start thinking, we start asking ourselves, and it starts at a really honest place. What do our fans love? What do we love? And where do those things intersect? Where do we find that borderlands, if you will, of where we meet together in the middle of the things we love about this universe that we've shared together for the last 15 years, right? And we start putting things on the board, and then we kind of yes and
putting things back on the board.
Yeah.
Because our ambition is always greater than our time allowed, and so as much as it's about continuing Borderlands as it exists, there's lots of things that don't make it. And we kind of want to throw those back on the boards to kind of re-examine, like, that idea that we didn't have time for, how could we bring that to the forefront and actually invest in it? So we've got some great stuff that, we've thought about for years at this point that we're actually executing this time around, which is really exciting for the group of us who've been with the project so long to see this iteration and all these topics keep coming back and now having the ability to actually do them right.
Yeah, maybe this will be the Borderlands that the left-handed guns finally make it.
I wouldn't count on that one, per se, but there's some other stuff, I promise.
I like what you said there, too, because there's two pieces of what you guys were talking about. We care a lot about what the fans say. I was the head of DLC. He was the creative director over DLC work. And so, we were always listening to you guys and trying to engage and see, what are those things that we can do to make stuff better. Speaking of fans, I think I saw Melody and Michael, who, there they are. So these folks, they're friends of ours now, they got married at PAX, which was pretty sweet.
Oh, wow.
Years ago.
Hey, big applause for them.
Hey, guys. So,
love you guys.
We engaged with our fans. We really care. We want to see those things that worked well. Sometimes they throw stuff at us that we don't want to touch, we don't want to tackle.
Yeah, we get some very clear and direct feedback, and it's part of our job to read it all. I promise you, we have gotten some very clear messaging from the community, and we're very fortunate to have the community that we do have, that you guys are passionate enough to give us feedback. So we'll make sure everyone knows it's not lost on us, and we do watch our socials, we watch forums and whatnot, and I try to keep as much as what we have in mind and the goals that we want to accomplish as entertainers, but also make sure that we're meeting our community and meeting their expectations for what makes a great Borderlands.
Yeah, we care a lot about what you guys say, and so we'll take, what are the things that we did really well in Borderlands 3? What are some of the things that we didn't have time for, that we couldn't get to? Then what are some of those things that we've kind of always had on our whiteboard that maybe we haven't touched?
I mean, one of the things that we love to go very deep into, but that starts every project, who are our Vault Hunters this time around? So we will have 4 brand new Vault Hunters in Borderlands 4, right?
Surprise.
Surprise.
Surprise! Yeah, right.
Reveal!
Graham, let's go into what it takes to create a Vault Hunter. Let's
Sure.
talk about that a little bit.
Well, when we look at the Vault Hunters, the first thing that we always try to look at is what is some fundamental promises and fantasies that players might have that we want to explore. So some example might be, starting way back on BL1 was like a soldier fantasy, straightforward FPS style character, right? Carried on to Axton. If you look at another promise might be our sirens. Our sirens kind of speak to a mage or sorcerer fantasy in our very like sci-fi world. But even between each game, as much as we start to identify these fantasies that we want to explore with these Vault Hunters, we also think about how can we change them up. So our sirens, have been very, ranged at times in some of their abilities, but then in BL3, we wanted to flip that concept from what Maya was to Amara, and she went more physical and melee based. So even though we have some similar promises, we think it's important that we switch it up and not do just rote designs game to game and how we can change them. And Moe's is a big change to the soldier fantasy. We went straight up to mech. So when we look at these characters, we want to look at those fantasies and how we can fulfill them. And the other part that's really important for me as a designer is make characters that are approachable, interesting, just at a baseline, and account for complexity. I think our RPG side of the game is so important, and just like our first-person side, where we're always looking to expand and add depth, we're doing that on the RPG side, but we don't want to do that at the cost of complexity. And so I always look at our characters and understand, like, between their action skills, how much management might be happening when you press that action skill button. Is it just fire and forget, and that's great, it's a simple return on your investment? Or is to get the most value out of this character, do you have to kind of manage your action skill maybe over time, or how you do it? Amara's fourth skill tree that we added in the DLC for Borderlands 3 is an example. A lot of hers were fire and forget, but then I really wanted to make sure that she had a management skill. And so her fourth skill tree is moving that phase ball around the battlefield as a way to like have a range of complexity just within one character.
And Adam, to follow up on that, like you get the direction, hey, we want to have a soldier type or a new siren or something like that. Can you talk about kind of the design that goes into these? You helped create some of these characters. Lilith, I think, is one of your...
Yeah. Well, I've been involved since the first one, so Lilith was one of mine. Yeah. Love the cosplay.
Creator meet Lilith, Lilith meet creator.
Yeah, and well, our Vault Hunters across the board, though, have always been as different as we could possibly make them. I mean, they're misfits, outcasts, almost anti-heroes frequently, but they're adventure hunters as well. So frequently, we play with a lot of different ideas, different looks, different styles, different abilities, and we love those to actually influence the characters themselves. So frequently, they won't even look like a group of heroes that you'd expect to see together, kind of like a superhero group, but like a mix and match of all different kinds of them. But we also try to find like interesting ways to bring in all kinds of different backgrounds and histories and origins for them to make them each unique and special in their own right. But more than anything, it's about like fantasy fulfillment for us. We want these characters to be somebody that we'd want to play and someone that our players would want to play. So it's really about trying to imagine like the coolest version of what you could possibly be in this wild universe.
And Sam, building off that fantasy, you got to write the story for these characters, world building, character development, tonality. Talk a little bit about that, like what we're doing with Borderlands 4, with tone and maybe character a little bit.
Well, one of the privileges of working in the Borderlands franchise is that everyone sort of agrees what the tone should be and what is funny and what type of storytelling we should be doing.
And every joke lands.
And every joke lands in the room. That's obviously a lie. Even within Gearbox, there's a lot of different ideas of what Borderlands is and what it means and what it should be in every iteration. Borderlands 1 was, a desolate wasteland, but it was a treasure hunt kind of across that space. Borderlands 2 was a much more active revenge story. You were taking down a tyrannical dictator. Borderlands 3, it was a race. It was beat the twins and the COV to the vaults. With Borderlands 4, we want to bring it back to the player. We want to make sure that the player and the Vault Hunters are the central character of our story.
You are the heroes.
Yes.
100%.
The fans, literally. Thank you, guys.
Yes. We want to make sure that the world is
Yeah, let's applaud that. Fans, you guys are the heroes. We're here because you share the universe with us.
We want to make sure that the world is reactive, that the world is grounded, that while we keep our humor that brings a lot of people coming back to our franchise in the game, we want to make sure it is situational and it emerges naturally. So while we're building these characters, we're always thinking about making sure that they have strong personalities, that they will react differently to different situations, and that we see the effects of that.
Yeah, and whenever we're moving through, we're talking with design and looking at things on the artscape. Whenever we're moving through, we want to make sure that the Vault Hunters are the ones who are engaging and causing some of these things. They're the hero of the story, just like Sam was talking about. We've talked about things like putting Vault Hunters inside cutscenes and cinematics so that you can see them alongside and feel like they're a part of that story too. So a lot of those different things that go into feeling like you are the one who is pushing things along and getting things taken care of instead of being along for a ride.
So I'm gonna interject with this. Totally unplanned. You're gonna hate me for this. You guys have a rare chance here. You have the four of the key directors of our game. This is the hundreds of people working on Borderlands, right? But you have a moment here with our 4 directors that are going to go back and continue some really, really tough work on the game. You can influence them. So I want to do a little thing right here. We're not taking ideas and questions, but let's do a survey. Here's how you can influence them. We talked a lot about Vault Hunters, right? You guys have played, most of you here have played through Borderlands 3. I know because of what we talked about, everybody has a favorite, right? So here's what I want to do. I want to take a quick survey in the room. I'm going to name a Vault Hunter, and if you felt that was your Vault Hunter, I just want you to scream real quick, right? Give us a shout out. Ready? Okay, here we go. Amara. Pretty good. Zane.
Yeah, Zane mains.
Mose. All right, some Iron Bears out here. I get you. Flack. I don't know. It's pretty close. What do you guys think?
I think it's pretty close, and I think that's a great sign that we've developed characters that have a pretty broad swath of interest. That's really important to us, that all 4 characters at that start of the game, if we did it right, you want to start all 4 characters before you go on this long journey with them. That's a really great sign. Actually.
Something we always talk about too is like finding that Vault Hunter for you. Like, what is your style, or what is that personality that you want to be able to incorporate?
We love everybody to find their character in Borderlands.
Yes.
All right, we've been showing the teaser trailer, images from past Borderlands games. Let's show some new stuff, some art that you mentioned. Here is your first shot of concept art from Borderlands 4. Adam, let's talk about the art design overall, kind of what we're going for here and what you want to achieve as you're building new content, right?
Yeah, well, Borderlands universe is just super interesting, and there's so much to get to play with. I mean, it is like a post-apocalyptic world, but in the distant future. So it's like high-tech, but low-fi, and it just creates all kinds of interesting opportunities on what we can do with tech and our weapons and our characters and our world in general. And can't say much, but this has a lot to do with it here.
Well, here's another piece. Yeah.
There really, a lot of other things we haven't really had a chance to play with too much in the past is some of that high technology stuff. And so as you can see here, we're actually doing a lot of like digital projections, and we're getting to see some, because this has been such a isolated world, some of the things that you wouldn't have seen anywhere else in our
looks different than where we've been before.
Exactly, yeah, and that's the key thing we're always after is we want to see something new too. We don't want to just keep rehashing the same world over and over again, So we really get to play with more color and more tech in this world than we have in any others.
Yeah, fans, take a good close look at these images. There's some cool stuff in here. Having played through the games and seeing some of this, I'm like, oh, there's some good stuff in here.
Yeah, this definitely is the most diverse and beautiful game we've ever made. So I'm really excited.
I mean, you can go there and kill that.
Yeah. Right? You can kill everything. Yeah.
I think what's great also about those shots, we kind of highlight this whole idea of, like you were saying, tech that's been repurposed and kit bashed. I think in BL1, we kind of did a great job of establishing a tech level. And even with that, we're looking at ways how to kind of bend and break some of those tech level rules this time around to continue to kind of find something new and interesting for players to explore.
One of the wonderful problems we have is we have so many great characters. Like we just talked about some of the Vault Hunters. Varnell, go into that. Like, the balance between something new and different, and Sam, you could jump in here too, I think, on just striking that, like bringing back old favorites versus new.
Now we're creators. We have, but we're 5 games, big games deep into a franchise, you know, on the main Borderlands line, including pre-sequels and Borderlands 4. And man, it's a great problem to have where we have a ton of characters that we want to spend time with. And we, by the way, we do incessantly listen to what you guys talk to on the internet and on forums and stuff like that. And we listen to all of the characters that you love and the characters you don't love, and we want to do that. But we're also creators. We want to come to the table and we want to add something new to that sauce every time, right?
Absolutely, and with the new planet comes a lot of new characters. In fact, in Borderlands 4, we're trying to focus on new characters and new stories, answering questions about...
Probably a little bit more new than
yes.
old, because we're in a new planet, a brand new place, right?
Yeah.
Looking at me,
That's a true statement.
That is correct.
We can say that. There'll be new characters in this game.
There's a couple familiar ones.
But really, I think what I kind of take away from all of that is we do like to consider ourselves storytellers. And it's really, we love creating characters with depth and complexity, you know, personal struggles they go through that we can explore. And I think that's why our characters have resonated with our community. And we have people who do incredible cosplay like they have, because we try to create characters with depth. And we want to show time in every game, but you know, players can only handle so many ideas and so many characters in one time before it kind of becomes, you know, in our very first-person shooter, run and gun, shooter-looter world, when you have all these voices going off, it can be really complex and hard to follow. And so I really like that this time around we're focusing on newer characters and telling their stories more clearly and concisely, as opposed to having a massive cast that we have to kind of juggle between all these points. So I'm really excited about kind of that focus this time around. I think the storytelling is going to be much stronger for it.
And that was something that we experimented with a lot in the DLCs for Borderlands 3.
Yes.
We treated those as standalone stories, very tight, concise arcs, and if someone was in that story, they had a very strong purpose there, and they themselves went through an arc. And we're trying to bring that mentality to this new project.
But still a vast world, right?
Yeah.
Big.
Absolutely.
We want everybody to care about those characters in one way or another, right? Like people don't spend the hundreds of hours that you guys do cosplaying stuff that you don't care about. So we want to make sure that there's something for everyone and that there's personality behind it. And they look cool and they're badass.
I feel like we're getting a little too comfortable here. We're getting into a bit of spoiler territory. We're at time, but we have a lot more to share in the future, and we can't wait for you to see Borderlands 4 coming 2025. Thank you, everyone. Got to hand it over to Dan Hewitt again.
Hi.
Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Thanks, guys. Really
Thanks, guys.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone.
Let's give them a round of applause, y'all. All right. So that is our PAX show. Now, if you want, you can wish list Borderlands 4 right now. There's a QR code if you want to take advantage of that. Go out there and wish list it. And please, please, please come by and say hi to us. We're going to be doing a autograph signing in rooms 435 and 436 immediately after this panel. So come by, say hi. We're happy to sign pretty much almost anything you want within reason. And with that, have a great PAX, y'all. Take care.